Ugh. Hey, look, it's a gi hanging there. He needs to get washed. It's not snowing, I don't think. I'm more or less awake. These are all good things. So let's have a show in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Thursday. It's February 25th, 2021. My name's Jeremy. And this is my first cup of coffee. There's something in there. I don't really wash the mug day to day. I just rinse it out. It's just going to be coffee tomorrow, so why do that? But it does mean that once in a while there will be some remnant of something that I don't really want to drink, but it seems okay right now. Coffee's very important. Well, happy Thursday. Oh, hold on. Let me just fall asleep for a second. I slept well, but I don't know if I caught up from the other night. Yesterday was a pretty good day. Got through the books, got through some client work, went to the gym. We took a few more steps forward on this stuff. You can see the trim along the edges. No? Obviously needs to get stained to match, but we're getting there. Chipping away at it. There's a different board over there. Good morning, Andrew. I think we're finishing up this week with this project. It's taken a long time, but it hasn't been a lot of hours when my friend comes and does work. He's often only here for a couple hours at a time, in between other things he does. So, it's cool. I'm super excited for it. I'm gonna get a bunch of stuff off the floor and feng shui my living room better. I don't know about you, but I don't like stuff being on the floor. I like it having its place. I like the floor being open. It's easier to just work out. If I'm working out in the house, this is the room that I use. So, what else happened yesterday? Couple client calls. What else? I don't know. Good morning, Emmett. Andrew says, yay for insomnia. I'm sorry. Cook some food. You know, it was a pretty straightforward day. Good morning, Stacy. Today's more of the same. Orthodontist appointment. A couple client calls in the morning. Work in between, work after. Probably go to the gym after. Gonna try to get to my Taekwondo class next week. Haven't been there in a while. I'll just show up, say hi, work out a little bit. Yeah. So, what else is going on? It's Thursday, so there's another episode of Martial Arts Radio. On today's episode 583, Andrew and I tackle the subject: should martial arts school owners be responsible for their students? Emmett says, today I've worked till 7 p.m., then a call with Benny the Jet, followed by training. Wow. You're kind of dropping that in there like it's, oh, and then I'm going to have lunch. Nice. Why are you talking to Benny? That's super cool, but why? While you're on the phone with him, ask him why he hasn't been on our show. Because we've reached out. And it's not that he said no, he just hasn't responded. It was years ago, though, to be fair. Would love to have him on the show. He's one of the veterans. Oh, he's on your show this week. Cool. Super jealous. Right on, man. But this episode that Andrew and I recorded, pretty good stuff. We tackle the concept from, or the question from a bunch of different angles. And are there times when instructors are responsible? Yes. Yes. You have food in your dish and I'm busy. I'm busy. Do you want to come sit in my lap? Do you want to be on the show? She just sat down and gave the most defiant cat look. She's just grumpy. Go to bed. Go to sleep. I know what she wants. Hold on. Hey, Google, set the heat to 72.
Okay, setting the heat on hallway to 72 degrees.
So there's a heating vent that she likes to lay on. But because it's been warmer the last few days, the heating vent doesn't stay on as long. Because it achieves the 70 degrees it needs quicker. See, go lay on the heat. So I think she's mad that she can't lay on the heater. Well, she can, but it's not heating. She's looking at it now, confused. So check out that episode. Looks like we've got a date for recording some more Jeremy martial arts stuff. That'll be in a couple weeks. Good morning, Nathan. Lots of little things. Lots of little things. The novel's up to 9 reviews. Yay! We're trying to get to 25. So if anybody out there has read the book and hasn't left a review, please, please. Something magical seems to happen around 25 reviews, from what we've observed. So when we launch a book, we're trying to get it to 25. If we can get it to 25, it seems like it develops some momentum. All but one of them were 5 stars. We had 1 4-star. I want to know who the 4-star was. They didn't leave a review, so I can't figure out who it is. They just left 4 stars. Somebody being grumpy about something. Don't eat that. Hey, hey. Hold on. Stop. What is that? That appears to be an old cat treat, but it could also be something else. So I don't trust you to not eat stuff you shouldn't eat, cat. Welcome to my life. What else is going on? I feel distracted. I feel like I'm all over the place, and I apologize for that. But this is the reality of this show. This is a show. Final episode of Whistlekick Live, Tuesday night. Make sure you are there. It'll be worth it. We're making history. We're not making history, but... Oh, it is snowing. So remember I said it wasn't snowing, it's snowing. It always snows. Who was I talking to? Oh, the guest that I recorded with on Tuesday who recorded forever. The 4-hour episode, almost. In the middle of a conversation about nothing relevant to Vermont or my local area or even me, he drops in the word Rutland. Rutland is a town. Rutland is a town in Vermont. And it totally threw me. Any of my local friends who listen to the show will go, whoa, what, why? Just threw it in there. Kind of like, in similar ways, I don't know if I've told this story, Stephen King, of course, is from Maine. I grew up in Maine. Graduated high school in Maine. Tabitha King, his wife, was our graduation speaker. And I'm sorry to say it wasn't a very good speech. She may be a good writer. She wasn't a good speaker. At least not for us. And we were all just kind of nodding off because it was kind of boring. And it was hot and we're outside and just like, eh. And then she throws in the phrase, smoke a bowl. And we all just kind of went. And she doesn't miss a beat. She just resumes what she was saying. The cat just made a really violent, did you hear that? Really violent vomit noise. Are you okay? Like, really violent. Hold on. Well, she's not dead, and that was the concern. She's drinking water. She's 21. It could be any moment. It really could. And so anything out of the ordinary worries me. Like last night, I couldn't find her for a few minutes. And I was worried. At some point, I'm going to have to deal with it. Because it's going to happen. I don't want to. It's going to suck. A lot. Well. But if you're ever giving a speech and you feel like you have to throw in ridiculous statements to catch people's attention, you should probably deliver a different style speech. That's my advice. I think I've rambled enough. I don't have anything else to say. So let's see what you have to say. What questions, comments, feedback, stories, what have you given me to talk about on this episode? Looks like I got stuff from Emmett and Frank. All right. Got quotes from Clarence Thomas and all right, I'm going to start with that. The quotes Emmett submitted. Good people exasperated one's reason. Bad people stir one's imagination. Good people exasperate one's reason. Bad people stir one's imagination. Oscar Wilde. I don't know how to respond to that one. I'm not awake enough for that one. All right, what's the other one? From General James Mattis. Engage your mind before you engage your weapon. The most important 6 inches on the battlefield is between your ears. And this is something that is missing. It is the difference between a lot of people who train combatives as a hobby and people who train combatives as a career. Knowing how to use a weapon or how to fight or grapple or anything, valuable skills. Knowing when to, knowing why to is so important, and I would argue ultimately more important. Because as you learn when, you are learning how to respond to these situations. Daniel says, it changes you as a person if you are constantly in a state of threat management. Yes. Most of us have had friends who have served. And one of the things that I've observed, and if you've known anyone who served, who went in real young, probably, there's a good chance they were probably male, just statistically, and they were probably all over the place and either quiet or distracted or whatever, right? And people, they come back even 6-12 months later and they're focused and they're confident and they're calm. Because that's the mindset that is needed out there. And so you see people with experience with handguns and combatives, and they're quick to talk. It's not the same. learning how to remain calm in these difficult situations is incredibly valuable. And it's valuable even outside of the threat of violence. It's a skill set that I have some of. I am someone that people will often turn to when things get chaotic because I know how to remain calm. I know how to let everything else fall away, focus on what matters, and dial into a solution. If you read accounts of war, think of the part, especially in older wars, where commanding officers had to issue commands in the midst of this chaos. They had to be out from cover enough that they could yell to people. They had to know what they were saying. They had to be clear about it. They had to let everything else fall away so they could say and do what needed to be said and done. So to pull it back to this quote, the most important 6 inches on the battlefield is between your ears. What else do we have today? Frank submitted some quotes from Clarence Thomas, Supreme Court Justice. I love being around people who work with their hands, who do the hard things to keep our country going. They're just my kind of people. I find it to be disappointing, although I feel like we're in the midst of some movement back. We spent a long time devaluing physical work and trades work. You don't have a house without it. You don't have food without it. You don't have running water without it. You don't have electricity without it. If you were to make a list of the things that were most important in your life, I mean, really fundamentally important, you would find that for almost everyone, almost all of them would require one, if not multiple, tradespeople, people who know how to use their hands and accomplish skills. Daniel's saying sanitation. Yeah. If you live somewhere where you have a sewer system. You ever read accounts or hear horror stories about sewers backing up? I don't love physical labor, but I've come to understand it better and appreciate it more, especially when it comes to, say, gardening or making improvements to my home inside or out. As I acquire some of these skills and through working with my friend Joey as he does work on my house, I'm learning bits and tackle some things now, smaller things, because I'm a little more confident. And I'm proud of that little bit that I can do. Yeah, I can build you a website and start you a business and do all of these other things. But nobody's going to care about those things if their toilet doesn't work. There's a list of priorities, and those are far more fundamental. If I had kids that were, let's say, high school age right now, we would be having a really honest conversation about post-secondary education, about going to college. Does it make sense for you? What do you want to do? It doesn't make sense for everybody anymore. I was kind of on those last edges where going to college was pretty much guaranteed to make you more money. It's not the case anymore. When you add up the debt and what it takes to service that debt over that period of time, there are plenty of circumstances where working a $15 an hour job and advancing that way will set you up better. So it's a numbers game. If you want to be a martial arts instructor and you are hell-bent on doing that, you don't need to go to college. Doesn't mean you shouldn't, doesn't mean you can't, doesn't mean I don't want you to, but you don't have to. You can learn anything you want online these days. It takes a person with a mission to succeed. The mission is your motivation. It keeps you going. What gets in the way of success? Life. Feeling distracted. Being unmotivated. Stumbling. Challenge. Why don't most people earn high rank in martial arts, black belt or, equivalent? Because there are days where they don't feel like it, or they're injured, or they're busy. And they decide, I'm gonna stop going. It's hard. I don't want to spend the money. They make excuses. But if your mission is to earn that rank, or to open a school, or to become the best version of yourself, whatever your why is, you'll keep going. Yeah, maybe you'll miss a class here or there, but you'll keep going. And that's where the success comes from. Good manners will open doors that the best education cannot. This one's interesting. People underestimate the value of manners, respect, politeness, whatever you want to call it. Social media and direct communication have given us this access, this casual access to so many people, that we forget why respect is of value. I think about the way I was raised in karate and the bowing that we did. We opened our class in a pretty traditional way that a lot of people may be familiar with, where we were bowing to our instructors and then we were bowing to the head of the room. Now, bowing to instructors is showing respect to them, thanking them for their time, their knowledge, their willingness to share. But the instructors are bowing to us too. And they're thanking us for their opportunity to teach and the willingness to learn that which they are willing to share. Completing that cycle, passing that knowledge down so that it doesn't die. Yes, the instructor is important, and the instructor is more important than any individual student, because without the instructor, there's no exchange of knowledge. But the instructor is not more important than the collective existence of those students. An instructor without students is not an instructor. They're a martial artist. Who are you teaching? But what about the bowing to the head of the room? It's the same thing. It's honoring the legacy, those that came before, saying, hey, people who aren't here, thank you for your part in this process prior. Now, if you remember that, if you think about that in terms of the context of a martial arts school, we get that formality out of the way. We understand our place, because it's then so much easier to learn. You ever been to a class where you get somebody in there who thinks they know what's going on and they interrupt the instructor, or they suggest alternative ways that aren't welcomed at the time? It's not as good of a learning environment. So to have that Andrew says, I've seen it all the time. Yeah. Do people learn as much? No. So that formality, that respect, in this case, is much more conducive to education. Can it be about ego? Sure. It doesn't have to be. If I step into a class with someone who's been training for 6 years, which is a much smaller number than the number of years I have been training, which for a lot of people is a difficult thing to do. It's your class. I'm going to let you teach the class. I'm going to learn whatever I can. Why do I know a bunch of stuff about martial arts? Because I shut up when I take classes from other people. I don't have anything to prove to anybody. My claim has never been that I'm a great anything. I'm just somebody who loves to train, loves to learn, and I keep my ears and eyes open, and I absorb as much as I can. I am the Borg of martial arts. But those same lessons apply elsewhere. The same respect, etiquette, manners, whatever you want to call it. Your boss at work, same idea. Your boss has responsibilities that you don't have. That creates pressure. There's a reason that having a mean boss is a cliche. Hierarchy will create that at times. It's just something we got to live with. But the part that I want to point out more is just how we treat each other face to face. Over the last year, because we've had so much less FaceTime with everyone, it seems like it's gone one direction or the other for people. Either when you see people out and about, you are so thankful to see people that you are more polite, respectful, you're engaging them with conversation, and you understand that we are social creatures, we need that. Or I see people going the other way, not making eye contact at all, ignoring people, pretending they don't exist, not holding doors, so inner focused. That's a shame. Keep that in mind. It matters. I think we got one more. Yeah. My grandfather was a man. When he talked about freedom, his attitude was really interesting. His view was that you had obligations or you had responsibilities. And when you fulfilled these obligations or responsibilities, that they gave you the liberty to do other things. I think that's directly applicable to martial arts. You get through your basics, you understand those fundamentals, and it creates opportunity. The better you understand those basics, the more opportunities you have. Basics are the bottom of the pyramid. The stronger that foundation, taller you can build it. Don't rush basics. Don't rush understanding fundamentals of anything. It is not a good, it's not a good practice. People look for shortcuts. There's no shortcut. There's efficient, but there's no shortcut. I can't teach you a technique once and you've mastered it. It doesn't work that way. You can take something as simple as a punch. You think you know it, but then what happens when someone adjusts your stance and says, you got to correct this. Your punch out of that stance needs to change. And now you've got to practice that punch in that stance enough times that you reprogram all the work that you had done prior. That takes some time. Martial arts is a constant process of that. If you look at it that way, it's really cynical and depressing, but it's true. As we make one adjustment, it leads to a lot of other things that can be improved, but we've got to put in the time to make sure that we lock those changes in, we commit them. You know, Control S. That's not something that happens instantly. Right. Good stuff today. So, what now? Well, here's what's now. I'm going to close the show. You're going to leave me questions, comments, feedback in the next 24 hours for tomorrow's Friday episode. You're going to go listen to or watch. Actually, I don't know if the video version's up yet, but you're going to go listen to or watch the episode that Andrew and I recorded on whether or not martial arts school owners are responsible for their students, episode 583. You are going to mark your calendar for Whistlekick Live on Tuesday at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Facebook. If you're new to this show, you're going to hit subscribe and turn on notifications because we do it every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time on YouTube. But you can also catch it in audio form via podcast apps. And if you have feedback or things like that, questions, maybe if you listen versus watch, you can email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. And if you want to support us, we've got a Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick. The Prime Taekwondo uniforms are up on the site, where you can grab a mug, and whatever you buy at whistlekick.com, you can save 15% with the code FIRSTCUP15. I'm going to go have another cup of coffee and get to work. Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Peace.